In this video, I'm going to be making the argument for why I think Bitcoin is a superior investment to real estate. I wanted to make this video because I have a lot of friends and family who've done very well for themselves in their own businesses and in their own careers. And like anybody else who has real wealth, they've parked it in real estate because historically this has been the thing to do. Unfortunately, what's worked in the past might not work in the future. And ironically, it's the successes of these successful people that are blinding them from the opportunity that Bitcoin presents them. So in the past, when I've tried explaining Bitcoin to those people that I would consider successful and those people that I look up to, they just brush it off and would consider me like just some crazy broke millennial that can't possibly know anything about money because what does he know? He doesn't have an elaborate real estate portfolio. However, due to the world that I'm being brought up in, I have to put on multiple hats. So not only do I work full time in my own field, I also need to learn about finances and I need to learn about global issues just so I can keep up in the world. So with that out of the way, this video is for you if you maybe own some substantial assets and are thinking about what Bitcoin can do for you. So let's set the stage. We can start by first bringing up the presidential election. So we have an election coming up in a few weeks, but a quick thing to make note of is this is not a left versus right issue. Despite whoever's in office, there is still a record amount of dollars being spent. So this is all contributing to inflation. So if we go over to this chart here, we can see that ever since the inception of the Federal Reserve in the year 1913, the purchasing power of the dollar has dropped drastically, losing over 99% of its value. And I'm sure you know this too if you were, a kid from the 70s, 80s, whatever. $10 back then is not the same as $10 today. As a matter of fact, $10 from just 4 years ago during the COVID pandemic is not the same as $10 today. So much money has been printed since then that we've lost about 25% of our purchasing power since COVID itself. So the issue is not really that young people don't want to work. Like I know people like to say that. That's not really the issue. The issue is that when you're working your life away and you can't even afford to buy groceries or you can't afford to live on your own, there is no incentive to doing so. So if we go back to we look at The Simpsons, right? Very popular show. Back then, it was normal for a for a factory worker, single income household to afford these nice things, right? Two cars, a family, a nice house. These are things that really can't be done today, especially on a single person's salary, let alone a factory worker's salary. It's it's not a nobody wants to work thing. This goes beyond that. This is going to get a lot worse too. We can see that the US national debt just keeps rising and rising, and this just ultimately means that more money is going to have to be printed to service the debt, further increasing to inflation. All that to say, it's going to get worse before it gets better. So not only can we expect inflation to increase, but if we take a look at history and we see what inflation has done to countries of the past, it's a country buster. I think those are Donald Trump's words, but um, inflation will really ravage a country. So when we look back at Argentina today, we don't think of it as a once wealthy nation, right? We think of it as just some third world country that who would want to live over there, right? Um, Now the same can be said for America. So let's say inflation keeps at its high rates that they are at today, and we lose our strong property rights, which is not impossible. History tells us it's happened to every huge nation before us. This has happened to them. So, assuming America is no different, and we go down the same route, we can expect inflation to continue rising, thus causing societal collapse. And would you really want to own property in a place where your private property rights are not enforced, right? So, like, what good is your property if someone with guns can just come in and take it, or if you don't have guys with guns on your side to defend your property rights, right? Would you want to own property in Argentina today? Probably not. Okay, so let's assume that this doesn't happen and your government will uphold your property rights. What's to stop your government from going rogue? So this is Kamala Harris's plan for unrealized capital gains taxes, and I don't think this is her idea. I've heard of this being proposed here in the U.S. years ago, but looks like now it's rearing its ugly head again. This is always going to start off as something as it's for the rich only, right? You have to make more than $100 million, and or your net worth needs to be more than $100 million to be part of this. But that's a massive lie, because the income tax was also a temporary measure intended for the rich only, and look where that's at. Everyone has to pay taxes on their income. So your property doesn't protect you from a rogue government. Now, what about, let's say you owned an apartment complex in Colorado, right? In Colorado, you have Venezuelan gangs taking over apartments. This is on U.S. soil, people. This is on U.S. soil. Okay, we have actual gangs coming over and taking over lands in America. It's crazy to think that we've sunken this far, but but it's important to reiterate these things. This is the reality of the world that we're living in. America is not the same country that it was 20 years ago. Bitcoin protects you from Venezuelan gangs coming in and taking all your assets by force. And you also have property tax. I don't think I talked about this yet, but you also have your property taxes, which is a massive scam. Who's to stop the government from raising taxes at an exorbitant rate that you can no longer afford it, and the bank buys your land at auction, so you don't really own the land, right? Your property isn't really your property. This is not the asset you want to keep for 100 generations and pass it down to your kids. This is not that asset. The asset you're looking for is Bitcoin, a incorruptible asset that nobody can debase, nobody can steal it from you. Just perfect energy-based money. So there's a lot more reasons why I believe Bitcoin is superior, but I haven't made a video in about a week, and I really want to just get this out. So I'll have to re-elaborate or re-go through my thoughts more elaborately in a future video. But to put it succinctly, Bitcoin versus real estate. Your real estate can be stolen by your government or by gangs, right? So the government can take it for your land, for highways, taxes, whatever. Gangs can take it for whatever reasons they want to take it for, and whoever's willing to fight harder for it is going to end up winning that land, especially if you don't have property rights or a strong police force to protect it. I mean, look what's happening in Colorado. Why haven't we kicked those gangs out by now, right? Does anybody care? Do we really have that private property, or do we really have those private property rights that we thought we had in this country, or is that just on its way out? Bitcoin, on the other hand, it cannot be devalued. It cannot be stolen by governments or gangs. It's incorruptible. So let's imagine you own a apartment complex, and due to inflation, you got to kick out a lot of tenants who aren't paying rent. That's probably not going to make them really happy, and they're probably going to, your odds of them destroying your property on their way out rise significantly. So you have to keep that in mind. That's something that you don't have to worry about with Bitcoin. Also, at the end of the day, your real estate is just rotting lumber in a field. That's all it is. It's just wood put together in some fashion, right? Like there's really no monetary, like there's no reason to believe this is money, right? Bitcoin, on the other hand, it's secured by energy and mathematics. It's not just rotting lumber in a field. It's pure energy, and not just that, but Bitcoin is being monetized right now. So people all around the world are finally realizing what Bitcoin is. So if you get into Bitcoin now, you can also capture on this monetization of it. Real estate is not being monetized. If anything, Bitcoin is demonetizing real estate, as smarter real estate investors are realizing, why do I own real estate if Bitcoin provides all the same benefits with less risks? So as more people figure this out, Bitcoin is going to keep on rising in price. It's important to remember that Bitcoin started free, right? Bitcoin was worth $0 a long time ago, and today Bitcoin is worth around $70,000, and it's going to keep on rising. This is what perfect money looks like. It doesn't go up in a straight line, but it just keeps going up. It might make sense to get a little bit just in case it catches on. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Thanks for watching. I did try something new in this video. I haven't done anything like this format before, but I really do like it. It's easier on the editing. So please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.